All right? You have heard about the previous speakers talking about a few points. I will summarize before I start my session. First, you have the first speaker, Patrick, talk about, you have to be agile, adapt. And then Satya talk about taking charge. We need to take charge in the environment today before someone else take charge for our destiny. And of course, thirdly, we have also speaker on earlier when Boris talked about change. I think this is inevitable. You have to change, otherwise get change. So for my role in the KPMG, a lot of people see me as a disruptor, right? Meaning I go around and ask all kinds of difficult questions and whether you should do it the way that you've been doing before. The same old we talked about in the past, 10, 20, 50 years ago. So with that setting, underlying everything we talk about, what is digital in the current context we talk about? Digital is a mouthful for many people. They can describe all kinds of things. But digital is not a thing. It's a new way of life in the world we are living today or tomorrow. So bear in mind that it's a new way of life, hence it's about how do you then change the way you're going to be doing business and conducting the activities you're doing before and tomorrow. So I'll start with sharing some ideas of what actually we'll talk about in this the next 5 or 6 minutes. Building trust in analytics is really about creating value. Earlier, I think Patrick was talking about creating value, right? Before you can start creating value, you need to understand what is digital foundation, which is about data. Everything we talk about, the good buzzwords about blockchain, AI, IoT, VR, all these are enablers. Under the hood of everything we talk about is data. So unless your CEOs, CFOs, the executive in the business trust the data quality, trust the analytics engine or algorithm you built for the business to be able to consume the data insights, they're not going to use them. They will always be questioning why is this way, that way. Right? So important to understand the building blocks of everything we talk about in digital is data. And I'll talk about the key element of data is trust. Building trust in data help you to start your journey on this digital age we're talking about. I'll share some of the survey findings from, again, the CEO survey that we have done. I'll just zero in into the second point. A lot of CEOs are talking about planning to make investments, significant investments in the DNA, data analytics tools, over the next 3 years. Making investments in tools is one, but how do you then make return on investment? That's where I will go back to my earlier point, trust. And what are the things we can do with data? I mean, these are not new to all of you, right? So there are basically 3 main agenda in business today. Either you are going to grow this business, you're trying to cost save through efficiencies, streamlining, or you try to risk manage things that you have to do in your marketplace. So in data, well, we're talking about how do you make decisions in those 3 areas. How do you know that your customer is buying more or less in this particular product line or this service line? How do you know that your cost is optimal? People are purchasing at every part of your locations in the organization. Are they aggregating the demand so they can create more synergy in the purchase, this purchasing power? And lastly, how do you know someone in your organization is doing something wrong that going to be costing you a fortune to fix it later on? All this can be done through data in one way or another. But then again, like I said, the CEO don't trust data because they find that the integrated data can be a concern to most of them. In fact, more than half say that I have concern with the data integrity. I don't know what source you take from. I don't know what format you take from. I don't know who you take it from. Who can change the data along the way? And of course, quality is actually something that you're going to make more investment on to improve it. And at the same time, create more depth in the data analytics to give you more insight of the customer. Because customer today is not a customer tomorrow. How do you know that the tomorrow customer is going to be what you are going to spend your time and money on? Earlier, I think Boris talked about, maybe between Boris and Satya talk about, a profit pool of a certain size, a $1 billion profit pool doesn't mean it's going to be here for tomorrow. But you kill something like a 10 million profit pool, will eventually be a $1 billion profit pool tomorrow. How do you know that is the driver for your customer growth, also for your cost effectively as well? So that's actually the visibility the data can give you a trend and pattern. Again, going to my earlier point, is the trust that we need to make it clear to the executive they can use those things. 4 key drivers driving the interest on trust. Analytics becoming more integral to business decisions. These are all value statements. Right? Life depends on data analytics. This is quite real. Those who use social media Facebook, YouTube, you realize that when you click on a particular video, YouTube will recommend you to say, look, these are 3 other videos you may be interested to look at. Facebook, the same thing. You are connected to this friend, they will recommend you another 10 more friends, right? There are recommendation engine behind this system that tell you these are the data analytics behind it. Tells you that these are the areas that potentially you can go and harvest more customers, or you can target more product on this customer because of the profile preference they're telling you. And black box. Black box is hard to trust because if you are telling this CEO, say, I give a black box of data analytics, whatever is in there, please trust it. Don't ask questions, just use it. It's not going to happen because people need to be convinced that there is a rigor behind this whole process of getting the data from the source, from operations to the back end, sub-finance. So these are the 4 anchors of trust that we have put together to basically give you that, a more comfortable position to have a conversation with your CEOs. And I talk about quality, right? Quality management is key. Before we talk about analytics, there's this reason why people say data and analytics. Data comes first. Fix the data quality as in, is there a team? Is there a function? Is there a process rigor that you can actually rely on to make the quality of data reliable, trustable? So that's something that is really lacking in many organizations today. Many is talking about going to the fanciful dashboards, visuals, UI, but these are sexy, but they are not going to give you anything that's concrete unless you fix the data, which is the foundation of what we talk about, right? And of course, the other bits, effectiveness, resilience, is really about trying to keep it relevant because data cannot be static. You need to constantly stream the data into the so-called black box that you need to get the CEO to trust more and more. How do you align some of these things? I think these are some of the survey results that we have got from a survey conducted by Forrester on behalf of KPMG last year. And you can see that the quality is actually the lowest in the confidence level today, right? Accuracy of models, again, is about trust in the algorithm, in the model you build for your executive. Are they trustable? Are they reliable? And privacy of data usage is also critical. When you use data from your customers, make sure that you don't contravene any rules. They may get you in trouble later on. Lastly, I mean, governance policies is really about keeping the data relevant, updated. Otherwise, you always say that this data is actually for last month or last year. I don't have a relevance in my conversation with this data. I got 8 seconds left, so I'm going to just summarize in a very salient point that start creating a purpose because no one will go to data without purpose. So I think for CFOs, you are in a very good position. When I say that, means you are in a position where you have the unlimited access to data in an organization because by virtue you are enterprise-wide in your role. Unlike marketing, you're looking at sales, procurement, you're looking at costs, and risk function, you're looking at compliance risk. You have the overall purview of the organization data. The question now is for you, take charge of the data and say, what can you do more with this? How can you interconnect data to give the business more value, create more value as a result of the 3 objectives we talk about? So first of all, create a purpose and say, what can we do as an organization for data? Build expertise. A lot of times we talk about quality of data. People are doing it in a part-time manner. Everyone is doing something, but something of many things is not going to add up to the outcome that you want to achieve. Someone needs to delegate their time and effort in building a data competency organization within this company. And I say that during this, in the last ACCA conference, I talked about digital age. Actually, we set the roles of all the C-suite executives today. Everyone has opportunity to be the CDO function, a Chief Data Officer function in the business today. And CFO, I believe, you have the most privilege and the most advantage that you have today to do that. Otherwise, someone else will come and take the job. And thirdly, is encouraging transparency. The black box needs to be discover, uncover, give confidence that we've gone through a rigor. Just like how your IT function does today. Your IT function go through program development and testing. Same thing for data. You have to go through a rigor of that so that people can believe that it's become a sustainable way of doing data analytics in our organization. Last but not least is really be innovative. Be innovative basically is going against the grain of CFO because we are traditionally more conservative, more risk averse. Being innovative is be there to try and fail. We always be fail safe. But what about safe to fail? Think about safe to fail. Have a fail fast, fail safe, and then this fail cheap, not fail safe, fail cheap kind of environment where you can, fail safe is not the right word. Fail fast and fail cheap, so you can experiment new way of creating value for organization, but at the same time, you're not going to cause a disaster for getting it wrong at the beginning. Right? So this is where I'm going to leave you with some thoughts and start your digital journey by looking at the data in the organization and take charge of the journey through the finance function. Thank you very much. I wish you good luck.